Yo, what's going on guys? Ian77 here. In today's video, we're going to be using minor wall breakers with Magic Archer. Alright, so hopping in the first match here, we're going to be up against what looks to be a balloon player here. So yeah, I think we should have a pretty good matchup against balloon. In this deck, we do have quite a few air responses. We do have Bomb Tower, Tornado, and Fireball, as well as like Magic Archer and Spear Goblins to kind of chip down things. And I'm just going to leak for a little bit right here, but I'll play a Valkyrie right now. It's just that like with this deck, sometimes you do get in a little bit of awkward cycles because I didn't really want to play my Valkyrie right away just because I knew he'd get like a free counter push on it, like either playing like an Inferno Dragon or a Bowler or something, because I have played this guy quite a few times and I do kind of know what he generally plays. So yeah, looks like he will set up with the Bowler in the back, so I'm just going to go Wall Breakers, and he will go with Lumberjack to counter, but I think we should be able to activate our King Tower here, so honestly pretty good for us right here. Yeah, we will definitely get into awkward cycles in this matchup, so even though we do have quite a few air counters, it's definitely not as easy as it may look, but honestly not the best tornado by him right there. He did get one Bowler shot on our tower, but he did kind of waste that, so we can't really use it to counter our other stuff. But yeah, we just have to make sure we're keeping our cycle good by kind of pressuring him at the right moments and using the right cards at the right time. So I think it should be a little bit easier for us in double elixir, because he will be able to build up pretty big pushes, but we can kind of like cycle whatever we want pretty easily. And I'm just going to go with split wall breakers here, just in case he went with like a freeze right there on the Inferno Dragon, but looks like he won't, and we'll get one wall breaker to connect. So yeah, we are still like in a bit of a damage deficit, but honestly looking pretty good for us right here. I'm just going to go with a Tornado right on his Bowler just to hopefully get a few Magic Archer shots on his tower. We kind of messed up the Tornado just a little bit right there, only managed to get one shot on his tower. So yeah, safe to say I'm not the best Tornado player ever, but you get the point of like what kind of like cool plays you can try to do if you actually execute them properly, like unlike I did. And I don't think we even need a Tornado here. Okay, I was kind of scared you could freeze right there for a second, but luckily he didn't. So we're looking pretty good right here. But we do have to kind of make sure to pressure both lanes, just because we can't really allow him to like build up a huge push like all in one lane, just like stacking everything. So we kind of have to make sure we're always pressuring him in the opposite lane, just to make sure that he always has to kind of spend things where he doesn't really want to. So yeah, he's going to go with the Nado right there, so I'm actually going to go with the Magic Archer at the bridge, hopefully to snipe his Bowler. He will go with the Inferno Dragon, but he actually had to freeze there, so honestly that's a pretty good win for us right there. He doesn't have Tornado in cycle, but I'm still going to go with the Miner in this safe spot just to hopefully fool him, but looks like he will still catch it. So looks like both wall breakers will connect right there, so you can see like we got him in a really awkward cycle right there. Like I think the only thing he had in hand was like a Barb Barrel, but that wouldn't have been enough to counter the wall breakers. So you can see like we're doing a really good job of getting him into kind of awkward cycles, and even though we have quite awkward cycles ourselves with this deck, we can kind of make him have even more awkward cycles than we have just by making sure to play our cards right. So yeah, do have to be careful with this Inferno Dragon. Might be ready to Magic Archer if you went with a freeze there, but looks like he doesn't. So so yeah, right here we're just gonna Fireball this Baby Dragon. It seems like kind of a weird play. You never really Fireball Baby Dragons, but when you play this deck, you kind of have to get used to making a little bit interesting plays just because of your cycle being a little bit weird, having like you have like two spells, Miner, a building, and stuff like that, so it is a little bit awkward at times. And we'll actually get one Magic Archer shot on his tower right there, so you can see Magic Archer is kind of carrying right here, and he will go with the Nado on it, but it's still getting pretty good value almost every time. And now he's not going to have the Nado in cycle for our Miner, so he might have to be a little bit scared of our wall breakers. But his Baby Dragon will do a pretty good job, but one of them will connect right there. So at this point, we pretty much just need like a few Fireballs on his tower and maybe a little bit of Miner chip to win this game here. So I'm just going to go with the early Fireball here, hitting the Bowler and hitting the Inferno Dragon. And I was contemplating tornadoing there, but I don't think it would have been worth it just because the Magic Archer was kind of too far back. But I'm going to go with the Magic Archer here, kind of a failed Magic Archer, just going to Miner and hopefully get a couple of shots right here and can finish it with the Fireball. We'll go with the freeze, but Tornado will do enough, and that will be a good game. Alright, hopping in the next match here, we're going to be up against this man. So yeah, in this match here, we're going to be using Skeletons instead of Spear Goblins. So there actually are two versions of this deck you can use. One of them does include Skeletons and Log, which is the one we're using in this match, but the one we used in the previous match has Spear Goblins plus Fireball instead of those two cards. So you can kind of just like choose whichever you prefer. I feel like the one with Fireball is actually a little bit better, but I think the one with log is a little bit more easy to use, especially for like a lot of you cycle players who kind of like a little bit quicker decks, like how this one is with skeletons and also the log in it. So it's not quite as awkward, and you can kind of pick it up a little bit easier, I feel like. So just wanted to kind of share both versions in the video. So yeah, so right here, I'm not really too sure what this guy's playing. He does have queen plus minor, so could only be a few things. Seeing the fire spirit's probably going to be a mortar deck, and yeah, he has knight as well. So honestly, mortar's not too bad of a match, but it's kind of hard to stop their mortars, except with like bomb towers, but they can kind of block it pretty easily. So yeah, that magic archer didn't really do much as I kind of wanted it to, but still fine right here. And the really nice thing you have to know when you're playing against mortar with this deck is that sometimes, like, if they go with a mortar, just like in the normal spot they always play like mortars or expos, you can actually go with a magic archer right on top of it, and it'll actually hit the tower as well. So that's really the main way you want to get damage, besides of course just getting a little bit of minor chip. And sometimes you can get wall breaker connections, but to be honest, they're quite rare, just because they can always just go with the mortar in the middle whenever you go with a set of wall breakers. So you don't really ever get wall breaker chip damage, to be honest, if they play well at least, but they can be good for pressure sometimes. So I'm just going to use a defensive bomb tower right here against his queen. You don't really need it against anything else. The bomb tower can kind of be useful against the mortar sometimes, but I'm not really too worried about that, just because I feel like he's probably going to be saving most of his mortars for our wall breakers. So I'm just going to go with a minor here. I'm also going to go with the prediction log here, hoping to hit something, and looks like he does have guards in his deck over like the skeletons or something, so this should be a little bit better for us actually. And he will go with a fireball on our magic archer. I was kind of expecting that, so got the bomb tower down in time right there. And now he doesn't have a mortar on the field, so I'm just going to go with a set of minor wall breakers right here. Should apply good pressure. He will go with the log and counter it pretty easily, but I'm actually going with the magic archer really high right here just to force out the early ability. So now the queen should be really easy to counter after that, since he already wasted his ability. So yeah, making really good plays right here. Yeah, Valkyrie going to clean up the queen really easily, and it is also going to distract the mortar, and we're always saving our skeletons for his miners, so they're never really getting too much damage. And now that he wasted his mortar, we can get a pretty good set of wall breakers right here. Looks like none will connect, but I'm just going to go with the magic archer plus tornado right here. Hopefully get a couple shots on his tower, and he will even have to waste the fireball right there. So yeah, you can see our magic archer is always getting a lot of value. They're always forcing him to spend the fireball, but yeah, they're still getting like a couple shots on his tower, and he'll actually give us the king activation there on his miner. Not really sure why he didn't play it in the safe spot right there, but he's going to play a mortar at 4 elixir. Strange deck, I'm pretty sure he had no elixir to support it, so going to get countered pretty easily by the bomb tower. We can just ignore the guard since our king tower is kind of helping out right here. And yeah, I'm just going to go with a set of wall breakers, and he actually is going to have to fireball them, so definitely not ideal for him. You can see like we're always... The real trick with this deck is just always getting your opponents in awkward cycles, and I'm actually going to activate king tower there using the NATO. Kind of a little bit of a bad NATO. You might notice I'm making a few misplays here, but honestly, I don't really care about his king tower being activated because I'm always playing my miners in the safe spot regardless, so it doesn't really do too much. But yeah, I'm definitely not the best with this deck, but trying my best right here. And honestly, we're playing pretty well in general, just a few slight misplays, and he's actually going to go with a fireball right there, so always very nice for me when he has to waste the fireball. And he's not really able to protect his mortars very well. I guess we're kind of just like forcing him to use his knight on our miners and whatnot, so he doesn't really have it to ever protect his mortars, which is really nice for us right here. We do have to be a bit careful of his miner and queen. His mortar will get one shot on our tower as well, so this is looking very tricky right now. Kind of went bad quickly, but yeah, just gonna have to be a little bit safe right here. Skeletons should distract the mortar for a second, and gonna use wall breakers in the middle as well, just to make sure we're distracting everything well. And yeah, looks like his mortars will be distracted well, but we kind of have to make sure we get a little bit of minor chip right here. So I'm just gonna go with a minor plus wall breakers here. He did waste his log right there, so I don't really think he's gonna be able to stop those wall breakers, and he'll go with a fireball on them, but we can just get a really nice magic archer lineup right here. And yeah, so his mortar actually didn't get a shot on our tower, so I think this should actually be a good game right here. Magic archer's gonna get even more chip on his tower, so really nice comeback at the end. Alright, hopping in the next match here, we're going to be up against this guy, and we are still using the skeletons version right here. I kind of do prefer it slightly over the other version, just because it's easier for me to play, even though I don't think it's quite as strong. But yeah, and by the way guys, I just wanted to ask you, what decks would you like to see me try in a subs deck video? Because I think I'm considering doing a video where I just play all of your guys' decks. Well, obviously not all of your guys' decks, but like I'll make a video like with maybe 5 or 6 games, and every game will be using like one of my subs decks. So I do plan to make that soon, so make sure to share your deck down below if you have some kind of just interesting deck that's exciting but also not really a common deck. And yeah, so you know, I feel like ladder has been pretty easy for me lately, so I might even try some of your guys' decks at top ladder, even if they're quite crazy. Not really sure why ladder is so easy. I feel like quite a few people got banned recently, actually, so it has kind of been a little bit easier. I'm just going to go with a King Tornado here. I was kind of hoping to get a King Tower activation, but when you're trying to activate your King Tower against Graveyard, it's completely luck-based. Like, it completely depends on the RNG, so unfortunately not the best Nado, and it kind of costs us a lot of damage right there, but sometimes it does actually work if the skeleton spawns right as the tornado is ending, so it's kind of worth it to go with it sometimes, because Graveyard is typically a hard matchup when you don't even have Spear Goblins in this deck, so it was kind of worth it for me, but didn't end up working out too well. And maybe like not a necessary Nado right there on the skeleton army, but I kind of just wanted to go with it just in case he didn't have arrows in his deck. I mean, I knew he had arrows, but I wasn't really paying attention to what his cycle was, so honestly not the worst for us though. We're still in a fine spot right here, and his Mighty Miners are being a little bit annoying right here. They're kind of like just being played in the right lane, but then he's just using the ability to get them to tank for his graveyards. Looks like he will go with it again right here, but yeah, not looking too bad right here for us. He is going to go with another freeze right here, but I'm just going to Nado the Mighty Miner back just to make sure it doesn't get any damage on our tower, and looks like Magic Archer will get a few shots. Honestly, could have went with the second Magic Archer just to line up on his Bomber to get like 3 shots on his tower, but I'm fine with it like this. I kind of want to save my Magic Archers for defense. Like, even though you can get a lot of damage with your Magic Archers, sometimes you have to realize that you do have to save it for defense sometimes instead of always using them so aggressively. And he's going to go with a really early freeze there. I feel like that was way too early. It's not really going to do anything for him, and we're going to defend pretty much perfectly right there. Yeah, actually completely perfect. So could be pretty hard to break through right here just because he has like such a good defense, like with Cannon for our wall breakers and like Skarmy for our miners. But I feel like the main way we could end up winning here is just through stacking our Magic Archers, because he doesn't really have like a Fireball in his deck or anything like that. And I'm actually going with a Nado right here on his Mighty Miner, and looks like Magic Archer will get a really nice lineup on his tower, but he'll go with another Graveyard Pusher, and we don't have like enough Elixir for a Valkyrie, so I'm just going to go with the defensive Miner right here, hoping he doesn't freeze right away. And yeah, we're actually somehow up in damage right now. I didn't even see how much damage our Magic Archer got on his tower, but yeah, you can see like also the wall breakers are getting quite a lot of value. They're always forcing him to go with negative Elixir trades in the Cannon or like something else that's pretty expensive, like arrows or something. So I'm just going to set up a Bomb Tower right here on defense, and I'm going to go with a Valkyrie in front of the Magic Archer, just because like sometimes when you pressure with the Magic Archer with like a Valkyrie in front, you can kind of just Nado their troops to go like kind of towards the tower. And unfortunately the Magic Archer does die, but Miner is chipping away really nicely right there, and if he doesn't respond to it, probably will be a good game right here. So I guess he's kind of just giving up, and yeah, that will be a good game. Hopping in the next game here, we're going to be up against this guy. So pretty sure this is an Expo player. I know there was someone called Lemon Tree like quite a while ago who mained 2.9 Expo, but I'm pretty sure this is just a different guy, just trolling with the same name. And I'm pretty sure he does run Expo, so he did waste his Nado there, so not really afraid to go with the Miner in the back here. And honestly, Expo is a little bit of a challenging matchup when you don't have Fireball in the deck, just because you don't really have too many ways to actually kill the Expo besides like a Valkyrie plus Bomb Tower. But he is going to give us a really nice Magic Archer lineup right there on his Ice Wizard, and looks like he's just going to kind of sack his tower and just go all in right here with an Expo. But I think our Valkyrie plus Bomb Tower should be able to defend pretty well right here. He's going to kind of distract it a little bit, so just going to go with a Miner on his Expo as well, just to ensure that we fully counter it pretty easy. And also going to go with a set of wall breakers here, just hopefully forcing him to expend quite a few Elixir on it. Looks like he will go with a Log, and I was kind of hoping one wall breaker would end up connecting, but still fine for us. Still going to be a 2-for-2 trade here, so yeah, we just have to make sure we're always saving our Valkyrie plus Bomb Tower for his Expos, and sometimes you can even line up the Magic Archers on their Expos and also get chip damage on their tower. So you do have to keep that in mind, just like how it is against Mortar. I'm actually going to go with the Magic Archer, but he's going to predict it with a Valkyrie, so honestly really bad Magic Archer on my part. Probably should have went with like a Bomb Tower right there, and he has a really healthy Expo on our tower, and this is looking super bad right here. So I'm just going to go with a Miner on the back right here. I know the miner plate in the back is kind of obvious, but sometimes it's so obvious they don't really expect it at top ladder. So somehow we did survive that. We are down a little bit of damage at this point, but still looking quite good right here. We do have to, we just really have to make sure to abuse our magic archers at this point. It's going to be pretty tough when he starts trying to like rocket cycle us and stuff. We don't really have the best offense. We do have miner plus wall breakers, of course, but yeah, he's going to go in with the rocket here. We can't really pressure him too much just because his Tesla does still have like 1 HP left, so I'm just going to snipe it down right there. And we'll actually go with the NATO on our magic archer, kind of just, I guess, not wanting to deal with it, but yeah, we'll get a little bit of chip damage in the left lane, but honestly it doesn't really matter too much, so not looking too good right here. Not really too sure how we're going to win. Maybe we could kind of like get like quite a bit of magic archer chip damage off like a Valkyrie he uses or something like that, or potentially like sneaking a set of wall breakers. But I'm actually going to go with a magic archer plus tornado right here, lining his ice wizard up with the tower. Unfortunately the Valkyrie does kill the ice wizard very quickly, so the magic archer didn't get as much chip damage as it could have, but still got a little bit. And the magic archer is actually going to get a final shot on his tower, so this matchup is pretty difficult, but you can see magic archer is just really putting in the work right here, so it's kind of the main thing that's carrying us. And sometimes when they go with the unit in the back, you can just go with like a magic archer, then just tornado it close so that it kind of gets just like right in front of the tower. And we kind of messed up a little bit right there. Well, not really messed up, but he kind of predicted us with the Valkyrie right there, so he defended pretty fine and did pretty well. But he also kind of wasted a tornado on nothing right there, and also not the best Tesla, so he's going to go with a rocket right here, but I'm not really sure if he can defend right here. I'm just going to spam with a magic archer and also go with a miner on his tower, because if he goes with a Valkyrie on the magic archer, we can probably just go with like a tornado, but I'm just going to use the tornado right here and hope that the miner gets one more shot there. Alright, he does get the extra shot, so really nice win against Expo. Alright, hopping in the next match here, we're going to be up against this Asian guy, I guess. I don't want to call everyone this guy, but I don't even know how to pronounce this guy's name. But yeah, so now we're going to be using the fireball version once again with spear goblins. So I'm just going to pressure with minor wall breakers right here. Honestly, this deck is actually like a pretty aggressive deck in some matchups. Like, it is actually a pretty good play to go with minor wall breakers first play if you do have it in cycle. But yeah, unfortunately we didn't get the king tower activation there. You can see my nados are being quite bad this video. I'm a little bit embarrassed, of course, but honestly couldn't really do too much right there just because pigs were like super low HP, and I probably would have used the NATO anyways just to kind of pull them off my tower, not even looking for the king activation. But yeah, so it looks like this guy will be playing a Royal Hogs deck, which should honestly be pretty good for us right here. We do have Valkyrie, Fireball, and Bomb Tower, but the thing is we can't really ever break through too well just because of all his quick cycle cards, so that is kind of the difficult part of the matchup, and he can always EQ cycle us out. So just gonna have to make sure we have really tight defense here, never really allowing his pigs to get any chip damage. And honestly, Earthquake is quite good against Bomb Tower, but we're still defending quite well, so pretty happy with this right now. I'm just gonna go with the NATO on his queen, but I think I'm gonna have to spend these spear goblins too just to make sure it doesn't get any chip damage on our tower. Queen is just like so hard to stop sometimes with this deck, but we do also have Fireball, which we can use against his queen sometimes. And I'm just gonna go with Wall Breaker split here against the Fire Spirit. What it does is that it will have one of the Wall Breakers tank for the Fire Spirit, and then the other one will just be able to go in the other lane for a bit of a counter push. So you can always like split your Spear Goblins or Wall Breakers to counter Fire Spirit and still have like a little bit of offensive pressure. And by the way, the reason that Spear Goblins are nice in this deck is that it's just like so hard for most decks to be able to like stop Spear Goblins efficiently. Like pretty much every deck will have to like spend a log on the Spear Goblins, but if they spend a log on the Spear Goblins, then they won't be able to chip away at your towers with their logs. So that's kind of the purpose of it, but also it's kind of a little bit log baity along with the wall breakers, because they have to usually spend their log against your wall breakers, then they don't really have too much for your Spear Goblins. And I'm just gonna go with the Fireball right here, just because he's not really making too many big plays right here, so not really afraid to go a little bit aggressive right there. And it's actually not even that bad of a play to go with like a Magic Archer and just Skeletons right there. Like it got like 180 damage, or like, yeah, like roughly 180 damage right there. So you can see that Magic Archers can actually get really good chip damage pretty easy. And looks like we'll actually finally activate our King Tower right here. And Miner does keep chipping away, so we're looking quite good right here. I'm just going to go with a set of Wall Breakers here just to make sure we tank the Queen fully. We'll do quite a bit of work, but not going to quite be enough right here. And He's going to go with another Royal Hogs plus Earthquake here, but honestly the King Tower is just going to be helping so much right here. And I think I'm just going to eat his Fire Spirit right there. Don't really want to overcommit anything on it, so yeah, we're just like constantly chipping away with our miners and just making sure that we can kind of apply good pressure on him so he can't really ever like start fully EQ cycling us. Like he is going with some EQs on us, but he's never really able to like fully EQ cycle us. So yeah, just going with a miner plus fireball right here, just because like we can be pretty aggressive right here. You just have to make sure that we're applying good pressure, and his recruit is actually going to line up perfectly with the magic archer. So like that's what's really nice about magic archer. Like it's honestly so good against royal delivery because it will always give you the opportunity to get like a really nice magic archer against the royal recruit that spawns here. So we're just 2 fireballs away from victory at this point, so I think we pretty much have it in the bag right here. Just gonna go with a miner plus fireball, and yeah, that should be it. So thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!